Yeah.
Right. And so I didn't know about my salary mindset until I was faced with an entrepreneur mindset. And here I am, my first summer helping people create courses, and I'm making more than most of my adjuncts. So adjuncts is like a part-time professor.
Okay.
They get paid per class. So we will give you this class and it will be X dollars, and X dollars is equal to, I want to say at my school, it was like 50 hours of work. They would give you the time in the classroom, and then they would give you office hours time, and then they would actually even give you time spent grading. And so it wasn't just this exact number of when you stood in front of your students, which is nice, but usually the money was really low. And we're talking anywhere, and this is like in California, by the way, so other parts of the United States might even be worse, but the cost of living is high here. And I would say that doesn't even match up well. But, you know, couple $1,000 for an entire semester of teaching 50 people and showing up. And I was making that, you know, in a month sometimes with one client, and it was like an ongoing thing. And I was like, and way less work, like way less. And once I started to see my time as that exchange of, oh my gosh, entrepreneurship is infinite, and this job is as far as you can go. And it like just smacked me in the face. And I'll be honest, I grew up wanting that stability because I grew up in a house where my father actually was an independent contractor. And so we had ups and down times. So for me, I was getting us healthcare, and I was getting a decent income that would afford me like a house basically, and the typical lifestyle. And that was, I made it, right? And I loved my job, right? And so it is interesting, and this is what my podcast basically talks about with other academics, is we loved our work. We love our work. I love teaching, and it was very fulfilling, and it was prestigious, and it afforded me status, and I had free time. That's the thing about entrepreneurship that I like. Academics had some free time too, but it was slowly getting chipped away, and it was out of my control. And so that's where all of a sudden, now the impact looks different too. Like if I can only impact, you know, maybe 200 or 300 students a semester, it's limiting. I can only teach so many courses. What if, you know, I could impact like millions of people? Now this is like this whole world opened up to me.
It's amazing, isn't it? Because I often think about it. A lot of the businesses that I deal with here in the UK at the moment are brick and mortar based. And it's not until you're actually on the outside and you walk back in, you realize the journey that all of those employees take every day. They walk in through the front door, they make their way to their desk, they see the same view, the same people. That's the world. And all of a sudden, once you're on the outside and you then go and listen to that experience going on inside, you start thinking, what, you mean you didn't know about this? You've not heard about that? And all of a sudden, the thing just mushrooms in your mind, and you think, but you could reach so many people all of a sudden, as you say. So some of those things I think they're very interesting dynamics, and there is a massive mindset piece that sits behind it as well. Of course, as you say, that whole stability versus infinite possibility.
Risk.
Where are you on that? I'm going to come back to the risk thing in a minute for you, actually. But on the back of what you've just said, a quote that you shared with me recently by Robert Frost. I'm not a teacher, but an awakener. Now, that seems to resonate very much in what you've just explained there about your transition and your own journey. I mean, I presume that it is absolutely as it fits your life right now, and that's how you see part of that transition.
Yeah, that's I have not made that connection yet. So mind blown, because that used to be my email signature in all my teaching signatures. And so, and it really is how I see education. Like, I don't just teach information and hand you information, that in fact, the knowledge I'm handing you and the experience that I'm creating as your teacher, and because I decide what knowledge gets in and, you know, and how to, assess you and all that other stuff, but that we actually already have everything we need inside of us, and we're just meeting certain experiences with our own inner being, right? So we can awaken things in other people. And what's so fascinating about you turning that back onto me, I mean, I've said this multiple times in my podcast, because my podcast, yes, it's about other academics doing kind of what I did and starting businesses, and that like identity crisis that we're having navigating these two different identities, basically. What I'm recognizing, and I've said it over and over again, is that entrepreneurship taught me so much more about myself than teaching was teaching me. But I saw myself as a teacher who really wanted to grow as a person, and that my job was not just to teach them facts, but to make them better people. And I saw sociology as a vehicle for that. Like I would tell my students, like it took me about 3 or 4 years to get there, because in the beginning I thought it was all about the facts, but it took me about 3 years to go, oh my gosh, people are leaving here interacting in the world in a totally different way. And that is having an impact. And that's what drove me. And then I would tell students on the first day, my one goal for you is to walk out here a better person. And people are just like, what? Like, you know, because like here I am, a college professor, and people did. I mean, they would tell me that they did. They walked out better. They were relating with their parents. They were engaging with the news and politics in a different way. And that was huge. So here I am now, and you're flipping it back to me and saying like, I'm awake. I'm getting awake by leaving, right? And not teaching, and teaching can feel very institutional. And so this idea that almost like what I was teaching in the classroom was bigger than the institutions could even hold. Yeah. And so here I am outside of it and kind of it being like, oh yeah. And the growth that I've had as a person in entrepreneurship, I mean, you basically almost every day are faced with the next like fear, the next pushing yourself out of the comfort zone. And like, it's been a whirlwind of trying to be like, oh, wow, like I'm scared of this. Like, that's why I'm not putting it out there. Or, you know, I'm working way more than I was working as a teacher. Wait, something's weird, right? Like all of a sudden I have a job, right? Like so lots of these realizations I've had as an entrepreneur, but yes, it's definitely been an awakening for me of my own potential. And the way I'm holding myself back too has been something I've been thinking about too. Yep.
Yeah. I have to
deep
say,
stuff, Jason. Deep stuff.
But it's. I think it is one of the things. You know, that there are absolutely days of the highs and the lows. Sure. But it is fundamentally exciting.
Mm-hmm. It's life. It's like
and
the energy.
If you embrace it, there is so much that you can do, reach, achieve, be part of in very different ways than I certainly would have believed. You know, even 3, 4, 5 years ago, I guess, in that kind of way. And I think it's the fact it's evolving all the time. It makes it a real ears and eyes kind of experience for me to just witness what is going on. And you start seeing things you think, oh, I see what you've done there. I've not seen that done before. Well, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And then you suddenly realize it's become a conversation in the background online as well. So incredibly interesting to see that. So I'm just going to come back to the risk piece.
Oh yeah.
Do you see course creation then as being a way that I'll say academics in particular, but it could equally apply to anybody in corporate, that courses are a good route to de-risking that moment of trying to decide, shall I leave and commit? Do I go all in? And particularly the beta element of that and how that fits into being a testing ground, a proving ground, that kind of experience. Would you recommend that as a way that people should perhaps maybe try and not so much hedge their bets to start with, but it's a way you could make the leap?
Yeah, yes. And I mean, there's a lot here. So part of what I want to talk about too is like, it's hard to make a course the first thing you do, but it's not unheard of. And so I think it depends on the like business that you want to start. And if it is a very info driven topic that you want to teach and you have the credentials to back it up, I think creating a course around a topic can be awesome. The key is having the community to purchase it, which it's like a chicken and egg kind of situation. And so sometimes you have to create content and put yourself out there before you can even teach what you know, even if you've been doing it for 10 years. So, you know, me coming out and being a course creator and helping people, you know, almost every business is like looking at how they can make a course an income stream, which I think is coming back to your way of like leveraging and de-risking. And it is a great income stream, but the key is, and this is where kind of my work around the beta has come in, that's a little bit different of an angle than what's out there. It's not just get the minimum viable product out there, which you'll see this online. I'm not the first person to say that, selling your course before you create any of it is key, because that's where the validation comes in. So if you don't have anyone to sell to, please, whatever you do, do not create anything yet, because that's kind of the first point. And so, if you have this background knowledge in something, start blogging about it, or start a YouTube channel, or start just literally sharing it on your Facebook page so people can start to follow you for that content. Then you can start asking them, hey, if I put this together in some sort of organized course, would that be valuable? And then people will start to validate that. And so that's the key first step, because yes, a course, what it does is it can create income potentially monthly. And there's lots of different business models, and I'm sure you're going to get into it with all the guests that you're interviewing. But there's models where you're launching every year, and you can make some prediction about how it's going to be based on conversion rates for the industry. But in reality, sometimes it's a hit and a miss, unfortunately. And so can you create a product that has some sort of recurring revenue, which I know we were in another program together, Tribe, which talks about monthly recurring revenue, and creating communities, usually a lower price point, but still you're teaching in there. Those kind of things can really help stabilize an entrepreneur's income. And if we have, clients coming in and some leaving, that whole what I've heard called the hamster wheel of the, 6-figure business, where one month is good and the next month is not so good. I think your work in Profit First is so huge at stabilizing what is an unstable job business. But the course can create some of that stability if you can get your funnel optimized, and there's lots of things in place, especially if there's something running on the back end. So there's lots of decisions to make from a business model perspective and how you want to do it. And it is all dependent on how you want to show up, how you want to help people, and, the best ways to do that at various price points. And so I think the beta really helps you test out your ideas without putting too much front work in it, which we all want to, protect our time and energy. So if you're putting time and energy towards something and haven't gotten paid for it yet, be really careful, because it can take away from your profit and your sales. If you put your energy towards something and nothing's been sold yet, that's a risk, a big risk, I think.
Yeah, I was talking to a client this morning actually, and it's a family-owned business, and they're probably $400,000 a year. So not huge, but brick and mortar business. And they, over the last 2-3 years, I suppose, their income has just basically bounced up and down between about $25,000-$30,000 a month. And we were talking this morning about it, that actually the moment you can have a business where it's a much flatter line that just sort of wobbles about a bit, rather than reaches for these extremes, the mindset changes as well.
Yes.
And this is the thing. You don't go through these periods of elation about a great month and think, great, I've got all the money I could ever want, to be followed by a month where all of a sudden you think, I'm now frightened to make any decision, because I don't know if the next month is going to be like the one before or the one I've just had. Oh, it was good again. And so you never get to stabilize from a mindset perspective, get comfortable with the idea of what it actually takes to grow a business. So certainly the more of that consistency that we can ever get into our businesses, the better for sure. And whether we start layering things on top that just move that level up all the time, that, different part of the art form for sure. I'd just like to come back to you on the Tribe thing, actually, and just say, courses, memberships, do you see there being, where do you draw the line? When does one overtake the other as a preference for you about the way you should go?
I always think about what does the student need and want, right? What is the result they're looking for? And I think with a course, usually it's a pretty specific result that needs to happen more quickly, right? So we're finding that like 5-6 week